Welcome to another episode of InRange. I'm here today with Sinister Rifleman, and we have the PSA Jakl. However, quite modified from when we first did a review. When you first got this, we just did pretty much nothing with it besides take it out of the box and use it.
Yep.
So it was a review with a mud test and all that kind of normal InRange stuff. But since then, you've done a significant amount of things to improve, I'm going to go ahead and use the word, some of its deficiencies. Is that a fair way to put it? Or you've just improved it to your liking?
A bit of both.
Okay.
So it's currently done up in a Cerakote Warhammer pattern to look like an autogun from Darktide.
You just used words, I don't know what they are.
Yeah, so
I know Warhammer.
So in the Warhammer universe, an autogun is a traditional projectile firing firearm that uses chemical propellant, where a las gun's a gun that shoots lasers.
And what's a bolt gun?
Bolt gun shoots mini rocket grenades.
Okay, cool.
So,
all right, so this is an auto gun because it uses essentially gunpowder.
Correct.
Okay.
So part of the Cerakote process is I had to strip it all the way down, like take all the screws out so they can, put it and paint it and bake it, etc. Right?
So you broke it down to every little piece.
Yep.
Okay.
And here's the interesting thing: after doing that, putting it back together and doing an appropriate application of the holy red Loctite, is that it is now 1 MOA more accurate than it was when I got it.
Okay, wait a minute. So when we did the review, this gun came in at what? Like it was roughly 3 MOA, if I recall?
Like 2.5 to 3.
And now it's about 2?
Yep.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Do you think that's the red dot or the Cerakote?
Well, I mean,
red Loctite, I mean.
Red Loctite, yeah. I think the Cerakote tightened up the clearances, and the red Loctite and retorquing all the screws probably locked in the barrel area more solidly to the receiver.
The trunnion mating surfaces,
yes.
maybe, for lack of... so for those of you out there, you use the right word, clearances.
Yes.
Let's just go there. Everyone says tolerances. Tolerances are not that. Tolerances is when you're doing like a CAD diagram or a schematic. It's the plus or minus about the biggest and smallest amount this part can be off spec. It should be, like, let's say it's supposed to be exactly 1.00, but your plus or minus is plus or minus 0.5. So then it could be 1.5 or it could even be 0.5. Because it's either way, right?
Yep.
That's a huge, not realistic number. But that's tolerance. Clearances are when all of the stacking tolerances come together. What? So you have this part's plus and this part's minus, meaning you have a bigger gap than you would have wanted unless it was 2 plus. So clearances is when the things put together, the actual gaps in the parts and how they mate.
Right. So, for example, if it just slides in without any friction, that would be big clearances.
Rather open, yes.
Yeah, if I had to beat it back into the receiver with a hammer...
That'd be a tight clearance.
Tight clearance, yes.
But tolerances are what they do when they're designing the part plus or minus.
Right.
Anyways.
So it appears everything tightened up and the gun is more accurate than it was before.
That's super funny.
It's absolutely funny, and it goes in line with the the Warhammer theming of machine spirits and placating the machine spirit. So, like, with the Imperial heraldry and the application of the holy red Loctite, the machine spirit of my auto gun seems to be more placated.
It has blessed you with better accuracy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The other deficiency we found using the Jakl was they were shipping with that, what was that, F5 stock at the time that was really bendy.
The stock was the worst part of it, yes.
So this is a Midwest Industries billet aluminum stock that I've leather wrapped.
Looks cool.
That it's very rigid, it's solid, and using that stock is a lot more pleasant than using the bendy, flexy F5 stock that we
The stock that we did the original review on was very pliable and not very solid.
The other interesting thing of this stock is you might notice because of the Picatinny adapter at the rear of the receiver, you can adjust the height of the stock.
The comb.
Yep.
Yep.
So I have it mounted all the way down because the Jakl's upper is inherently taller than an AR-15.
Yep.
So that I could mount optics and sights to it as low as possible.
Which, I just looked at this. It's a really cool sight picture. You've got these irons, which I've never seen these irons before, but you've got a really perfect co-witness going on here.
Yeah, so like if you're shooting both eyes open, the rear just ghosts out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to use the irons, you can. Those are actually CZ Scorpion iron sights.
They're really cool.
But what I had to do was re-tap the front post to take an AR front post because the CZ Scorpion front post was not tall enough. So that was like a metric thread for their front post. So I got the right tap to thread it for a AR-15 front post, and that gave me the elevation adjustment.
So you got rid of that commie metric and made it American Imperial?
Yep.
Okay. And I can see that your front post is a standard AR-15 post, but even that is quite a bit out of the hole to get it to the right height.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. So what else are we doing here?
And I put it on one of our KE Arms billet flared magwell lowers, just 'cause I think it looked more aggressive for what I was going for with the auto gun. And of course we have the Cerakoting and laser engraving all over it to make it an appropriate 40K auto gun.
Yeah, I'll get some close-ups of that. Now, as always, you usually use the same guys for this. Who did the work?
Pro 2 Customs.
Pro 2 Customs. Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, if you're going for a Warhammer themed look, it nails it.
Yeah, and in the intro to the video, you'll see like some of the screenshots from the game and from various artwork, and I think it really looks the part. One little note is I got this thing from Optic Guard to put on the HoloSun SCRS.
Yeah.
And it's just a little plastic cover. They're pretty cheap. I think they're like under $20. So if you don't want to beat up on your optic, you just throw that over it, and you're not damaging your aluminum if it hits something. And in this case, I got an OD green one because it matched the rest of the gun.
So I guess it would be safe to say that you now like the Jakl better than we did the first part of the review?
Yes. Yeah, it's fun. I actually used it at a black rifle match in limited division, and took second with it. So not quite as good as using an AR-15, but good enough. And I think this is exactly what the Imperium would build, because it's heavy, it's clunky, it's less accurate than an AR-15. And that's the whole thing with 40K is the decay of technology over time. So and it's heavy. You could at least bash an orc's skull with the forend on that too.
So you're saying if you want something that's less accurate and heavier than an AR-15, the Jakal's your gun?
Yes.
That's what I just heard.
And just like when we did this review before, I think the main thing for these guns is people who already have a bunch of ARs and want something different. One thing I haven't done with it, which they say is the primary purpose for it, is as a suppressor host.
It is piston, which is generally better for that.
And talking with the engineers at PSA, that was always the primary intent of this gun, was short-barreled suppressor host.
Which makes sense.
And selling the longer versions is just incidental because people have asked for it. So,
however, if you've ever shot a gun with a suppressor on it in a dynamic environment, whether it's competition or just the field, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, everyone I know that gets suppressors shoots them for like 2 to 3 months at everything, and then they're like, this is a lot of hassle.
Suppressors have field and tactical applications that really don't matter when you don't need those field or tactical applications. Yeah. If you don't care about the target downrange, being able to discern where you're shooting from because it's a steel target at a square range, it's just a big heavy thing on the end of the gun that burns you when you drop it on sling.
Or melts the thing you have to drop.
Or you put it in your bag and your bag turns into a blob. Yeah, but pistons do make more sense for that.
Yes.
So now with this together, you're going to continue using it?
Yeah, I think I want to get a full LARP going with an Imperial Guard costume and shoot one of our brutality matches with it eventually.
That's awesome.
Because I have a matching set of these guns, and we'll be talking about more of them in another video.
It looks great. I mean, it really looks cool. This is interesting too, the way you leather wrapped it. This actually reminds me of, it's a triangle stock, but you've leather wrapped it, but it's actually, to me, reminiscent of like the Soviet-Afghan conflict where they wrapped a tourniquet around it.
Right.
Because here in Arizona, that metal stock will burn you to heck.
Yeah.
Or in a cold environment, freeze you to heck.
Yep.
So wrapping it made the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually a note I took from the art in the game. Was one of the models of autogun had a leather wrap stock. Yes.
Where do they get their leather from in Warhammer?
Probably from people.
All right. Fair enough.
You get turned into a servitor when you disobey orders and take too much corpse starch, and then they
corpse starch what?
They recycle people and feed them
corpse starch.
Yes. And then they probably take your skin and turn it into rifle slings.
This sounds like a lovely game.
Yes.
Yeah, for like young teens or children, maybe.
Yeah. Very, very dystopian future.
It's kind of grimdark.
Yes,
that's what it is.
It's the inventor of it.
Yeah, that's right. It is. Right. He's the guy. Anyways, it looks great. Thank you for giving us an update on it. So if you want something heavier, less accurate than an AR-15, get a Jakl, and then Cerakote it, and then red Loctite everything, and you might get better accuracy too.
Yep.
If you like this stuff, share, subscribe with your subscribe and share with your friends, because the algorithm doesn't. But also consider supporting the channel. We are completely demonetized, supported by viewers like you. Patreon.com/InRange TV. Stay tuned for more updates on the Jakl or some other interesting Warhammer themed thing you probably made. Right?
Exactly.
Thanks for watching.